Good afternoon, Michael Malice here. Let that be your welcome for the next hour. This might be the guest I've been most excited about for months.
I'm thrilled to be here. I'm really thrilled.
Don't step on my intro.
What? You said you were happy to have me here. The intro's done.
It's not done. I have a long intro.
A long intro.
Legendary heckler Jimmy Carr, and I'm going to tell you the whole intro. The whole intro I have ready in my head.
Okay,
here
sure.
It is. I've invented a new form of trolling. And that new form of trolling is paying people very sincere compliments because they get very uncomfortable and they don't know what to do. And then it's awkward for them, and then I have my fun. So here it is.
Okay, sure.
I saw your show now twice in 2 years. You've come to Austin.
Yes.
Your new show is called Jimmy Carr Laughs Funny for some odd reason. Can't think of why. People get tickets at jimmycarr.com. And I can promise every single listener watching this that if you go to that show, you will not regret it. And I will tell them why the show is so excellent. I went there this past weekend. I sat down. I'm like, you know what? I'm like not really in the mood. You've been to shows. You're like, ugh, I'm not feeling it.
Of course.
In seconds, I'm hypnotized because the way your show works is it's old school. Punchline, setup, punchline, setup, punchline. So you're getting that serotonin hit, almost like TikTok, every few seconds. Your quality of humor, because that setup also loans itself to like dad jokes and a lot of it's, but not with you. Like the quality is just there, and I'm sitting there entranced. And what else that you do that's really smart is you stop at a certain point and do some crowd work, and we can see the quality of your mind because people throw out questions and immediately you have the one-liner answer.
Well,
so
I think the crowd.
Can I finish?
Is there more?
There's more.
Can there be more? There could be more.
So
Sure.
It is a masterclass. It is so fun. You do not, and you also, step on some landmines and make jokes about them. So it is such an honor to have seen it and to have you here. It's just a huge thrill.
I'm thrilled you came. It's a very fun show to do. I always think the crowd work thing is a bit like asking a magician to do real magic.
Right.
So you spent all this time in the gym writing these jokes, and you have this show that's like an hour of jokes, and then you go, but we've got more time than that. Let's give the audience something where they feel like this could only happen in real life, in this room, right now, as opposed to on a screen recorded and watching it back. Because there's an illusion with comedy where the only person performing is the guy on stage. And that is nonsense. The audience, the whole audience, it's clearer with rock and roll. Because you can see when you go and see Bruce Springsteen live, if Bruce Springsteen goes, "How are you all doing?" and everyone goes, "Yeah," it's appropriate. If you say that in Starbucks, you will be escorted from the building, right? It's performative, just being in an audience and laughing and showing that you got the joke and joining in and what you can take and what you can't take and what seems too much. I think it's that thing where we, like as comedians, the royal we expand the Overton window of what is and what isn't acceptable to talk about. So I think people after the show, I think the real benefit of a comedy show is afterwards you have this incredible conversation where everything's on the table. And you're just a bit more open.
I did a little bit of comedy recently, and Roseanne said...
Agree to disagree.
You haven't seen it. Roseanne said the same thing. She goes, you're good when you're doing crowd work. And I hate crowd work because what's that Sturgeon's law? 80% of everything is shit. Most crowd work is painful. It's killing time. It's like, oh, I don't care what that guy does for a living. I don't care how long they've been going out. That's not what you do. You're going straight for the punchlines. And this is something I enjoy doing on podcasts because when I get that one-liner, people in the audience know he came up with it on the spot.
Yeah.
It's dynamic.
It's also, there's an intimacy to...
Yes.
Like, if you think about who's your best friend in the world, I'll tell you, it's the person you got the least filter with, right?
That's right, yeah.
And if you treat the audience like there's no filter, like I've known all of them 20 years and they know me and I can make these jokes because they know it's all from a good place. They know that I'm an equal opportunities offender. I'm not picking on anyone, and we can take a joke. When you can call a girl in the front row ugly to her face and she's falling around laughing, you go, there's a real sense of intimacy to that. It's lovely.
Yeah. I know this is stupid, but how do you keep from veering into because the setup is so old school, right? How do you keep from veering into dad joke territory?
Well, I think it's the that thing of going, the audience is a genius. So that thing I do at the end of the show where I take out new jokes and I try new jokes at the end of every show. So you go, comedy self-assignment, right? You could write the tour and then not do any work for 2 years and just do the tour. So I'm constantly writing and trying new stuff, right? And everything is split tested. Everything is, okay, I'm going to say this in front of an audience. And if the line works with no performance, just reading off a scrap of paper, then I know I'm onto something. That's okay. Well, with a bit of performance and some tweaks, that could really work. And the audience make the decision. The audience decide, Because one I've got is like, I've got hours and hours of jokes. They're okay, but they never make the show because they're not quite there. It doesn't quite work as the thing. So my love language is kind of the one-liner, which you go, yeah, you can do dad jokes, or you could do the funniest thing in the world. The funniest stories you've ever heard. All of your favorite comedy bits are jokes, but it's how you present them. I'm very, I suppose it's old-fashioned in a way to kind of do gags. But you go, I love the honesty of it. I love the fact that you go, there's a boldness to it, going, I'm not pretending I'm telling you a story here. This is a joke. If you don't laugh, I've failed in my mission. So I need to take you with me on this.
But it's also, if I don't laugh 10 seconds later, there's another one. So like, you don't give us a chance to either, like, because you know the advice that I talked to like 10 professional comics about advice about doing stand-up. You know the one thing they all had in common to say, which is fascinating? They all said you have to bomb. You have to go on stage and bomb and know what it's like to be up there and you're eating it and they know you're eating it and you know you're eating it and no one can help you. And Roseanne even said she likes bombing because she likes working her way back up from that pit.
Yeah, I could see that. I think it's interesting, that thing of going no safety net, throwing it open to the audience, like doing that every night makes it, you know, I work a lot. I play a lot of shows when I'm touring, and that thing of going, what keeps it exciting? What makes it? And you go, well, working that muscle. It's time in the gym. I think it's a bit like, it's analogous to being an airline pilot. If you ask a pilot how long they've been doing it, they might say 20 years, very unlikely. They'd probably tell you how many hours in the sky.
Right.
It's hours on stage because you're in a different state. It's like you're in kind of a flow state when you're on stage. Like, there's no such thing as comedy genius, but there is hyper accelerated rationality where you're just able to reach for something super quick because you're in that fight or flight mode on stage. There's a weird, they did a study, this is about 10, 15 years ago now, but they put actors on the first night of a stage play and they wired them up to every measurement tool. And they measured their cortisol and their stress levels, and the guy's dry heaving as he's about to go on the first night. Well, I remember my lines, I don't know what to do, I'm super nervous, okay? So they did that and they measured it and what they expected. It's terrifying being on stage in front of 1,000 people.
Right.
They went back 12 weeks later and the guy's like eating a sandwich and, oh, I'm on in a minute. Cool as anything, walking on stage, and they measure his levels. The levels are exactly the same.
No, wait, really?
But they've normalized the feeling. They've just normalized the feeling of being on stage. So the level of stress is the same for me.
Counterintuitive.
Yeah, but it's kind of, it makes sense. You make it so that's okay. It's that feeling of, if you were, okay, you're having palpitations, your heart is beating, you're sweating profusely, and you're almost collapsing. You can't even speak. Okay, if that happens in the street, walking down the street, you're in a lot of trouble. If that happens in the gym, it's totally appropriate. Great, I'll be fine in 2 minutes. It's like, it's all about that thing of like, you just get used to it. You get used to it in that mode, and then it's fine.
So I want to talk to you about something else. We're recording here at Melrose Studios. This is the first time using the studios. They've moved studios, right? So you got sent to that other address.
Yes.
So you're running a little late. And and you were very apologetic, and it reminded me of something that happened to me. I remember years ago, I was going to do Ruben's show in LA, and we were running a little late. My buddy John, who does the theme song for this show, was driving me, and I'm freaking out because I was a business major. And I was always taught, you have to be 10 minutes early, right? I remember once I had a job interview and I called them frantic because the D train was stuck on the bridge. And I showed up like 1 minute late, and they said, you're the earliest late person I've ever met. But in my head, it's like, it's like a typo in the resume.
Yeah.
So do you have, and I'm sitting here, we're fine, everything's fine, like, don't worry about it. Do you have this kind of crazy work ethic that you got beaten to as a kid and it's still part of your psychology?
Yeah, I think that the work ethic thing's really, it's kind of interesting. It's like, it's that the old cliche of like, find something you love doing and you'll never work again.
Right.
It's like, it's what could you stand to do? Naval Ravikant's very good on this. It's not about the 10,000 hours. It's not about like, what could you do for 10,000 hours? What could you stand to do for 10,000 hours? And it's play for you and it's work for them.
Right.
It's that thing of like going, the self-assignment element of comedy is like, no one tells you to write new jokes. No, you're the best manager in the world never goes, what are you doing today? You should maybe write some new stuff because you have a special in 3 years' time. So you need to you need to put the work in. You're going to have to write 20 jokes for one of them to be good enough to go in a special. It's like you just somehow find that thing of going, it's amusing to me. It's just fun to me to go to those things. On the timing stuff, I'm like, I want to be early to stuff because it's like, there's certain things that I think I always like the show to start pretty much on time.
Sure.
I like to be suited and booted and in a tie and a 3-piece because it's a mark of respect. People have bought a ticket to a show. It's a theater. It's like, you feel like
Oh, I understand. Yeah. But I'm just saying I had that same thing being a business major.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a psychology that not everyone shares, and it's kind of just I'm never gonna not have it.
Yeah. I like that though. I think that's kind of
Oh,
it's
sure,
nice to
yeah.
have those things.
If I would always hold myself to a higher standard than I maybe hold other people.
Yeah. I think there's the golden rule of
I
treat
hate the
everyone.
golden rule.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, right? There's the golden rule: treat other people as you want to be treated,
Right.
and there's the platinum rule, which is treat yourself as you treat other people, which is very difficult to learn.
Well, let's break this down. Treat yourself. I'm not going to treat myself.
Okay, so I turned up late to the show, and you
but
very
that wasn't your
graciously,
fault, though.
very graciously, you sent me a text going, "Hey, there's no problem." And then you said to me when I came in, "Hey, there's no problem." And you told me again, "There's no problem. It's absolutely fine." Well, I'm half an hour late. That's properly late, and you're incredibly nice to me. I bet you're not that nice to you. I bet you wouldn't be that nice to yourself if you're half an hour late to a
That's
show.
true.
Okay, so that's the platinum rule.
That's true.
That's
that is
trying
true.
to be that nice and understanding to other people, trying to be that good to yourself, because you're a pretty compassionate guy.
I'm not. I just have a lot of respect for you,
Good.
but it's earned.
Yeah, I think that thing about going, there's a great Alex Hormozy quote where he says, real self-confidence doesn't come from shouting affirmations in the mirror. Real self-confidence comes from giving the world irrefutable proof you are who you say you are.
Right. Yes.
Give the world proof.
Yes.
Like, everyone talks a good game. No, that won't do.
No, but I mean, I think it just also depends on the person I'm dealing with. You know what it is? This is part of my Soviet upbringing, and I'm curious if you have the same mindset. I am been raised or trained that whenever I'm interacting with someone at a certain level, I have contingency plans if they screw up. And I just take it as a given that most of the times it happens. So when it does happen often, I already know what plan B is. Do you think like that? Or just me?
No, not so much. Not on the screwing up thing. But I'm always pretty happy with where things are. I've got a nice disposition. I think that's like, I've often thought like my philosophy of life is like disposition is more important than position.
Yes.
Your disposition in life is like the most, it's like you carry that with you everywhere. And that's basically the only way you can shift it is a gratitude practice. And you naturally have that. I'm a fan of the show. I've listened to you a lot. And the idea that you go, if you come from the Soviet bloc,
right?
If you remember, if you have a muscle memory even of that level of poverty, corruption, and lies, you come into this world with a level of gratitude where, no, things are pretty great here. My hot take on America is objectively the best country in the world and subjectively the worst. Like, people think they are having a terrible time here, and this place is unbelievable.
Don't get me started. You've got me. It's before I was watching a clip this morning, and I sent it to Peter McCormick. So Peter McCormick is a British podcaster. He used to have a podcast called What Bitcoin Did. I do a show like once a year. We're in the same city, and I've slowly watched him become red-pilled and radicalized.
Right.
And just this morning, I sent him a clip from The Iron Lady, which is the film with
of course, Meryl Streep as Margaret Thatcher. Yeah.
And there's a moment which is not true to history when Thatcher wins the Falklands War and she's on the floor of the House and Michael Foot, who's the head of the opposition, is questioning her, and she goes, "Look, I'm not going to do the voice. I can, but I won't. I'm not saying there won't be inquiries. Those will come in time. We have nothing to hide. But today is a day for coming together to stand proud and be proud to be British." And everyone's cheering. And it brought a tear to my eye, because I don't think that's there anymore in the UK. And the UK has so much to be proud of. That the idea of...
What do we do? All we ever did was defeat the Nazis and end slavery. That's all we ever fucking did. People give Hitler a hard time, but listen, I don't want to be a revisionist historian, but he did kill Hitler.
Sure. But he also
killed Hitler. He gets no credit.
Yeah, but he did something bad. He killed his dog.
Did he kill his dog as well?
Blondie.
He killed Blondie.
He killed his dog.
The more I hear about this guy, the less I like him.
That's a Norm Macdonald line. They had cyanide pellets, but because the production was so poor at the time, he didn't know if it would work. So he gave it to his fucking loyal German shepherd, watched it die.
He just called it a shepherd. Over there, they're just called shepherds.
And then then that's what Ava took, but he shot himself. Isn't that terrible?
Yeah, I mean, famously the worst guy in the world. So we're not going to be.
No, but you're joking about Britain. But I mean,
well, Britain is it's an interesting. I've always sort of thought Britain is to America what Greece was to Rome.
Yeah, that's right. I
Like
think that's
it's
fair.
that thing of like whereas the Jews are to the Christians. It's that thing of like the foundation. We kind of put the foundations there, and you kind of ran with it, and we're very proud of what the Americans have done, frankly. And you're basically seeing kind of the end of that kind of happening, the end of a. But I suppose I'm a very positive person, so I tend to kind of look at the like the. If you look at what's a good example, if you look at the fall of the Holy Roman Empire, right?
Right.
Okay, did it fall or did it become a church?
Okay. Sure.
And you look at the British Empire fell, yeah, or did it run international banking for the next 50 years?
Sure.
So there's lots of like Britain's interesting because it's the fifth biggest economy in the world is London, and then there's a poor country attached
Sure.
to that, and there's so much that's vibrant and incredible about it, and yet everything we read is just bad news.
But what I'm speaking about is why am I, as an American, having to tell the Brits you should be proud of being British? You should love your country. You should be waving that flag unapologetically. It's insane to me that when I was on Peter's show, I was just reading him the Riot Act, and the audience just all loved it. And a Winston Marshall show as well. It's just the amount that Britain has given the world is incalculable.
Well, I think what we're seeing happening now, not to be too serious, but I think what we're seeing is the creation myth that our society is built on is
That's
World
right.
War II. And as the memory of that fades, and you see that, like Kanye is very interesting because Kanye West is sort of like a tuning fork on culture. So he's 18 months ahead of the curve on everything. And it's like he's fucking singing songs about Heil Hitler. It's disgusting. But it's also like sadly, it's like it's the first thing that happens where you kind of go, people are re-questioning that foundation
Sure.
myth. And then as a result, and you need that myth. You need that common cause, so that post-war consensus, and it's breaking down now. And it's breaking down in America. You go, the fall of the Berlin Wall was a brilliant, terrible thing, because 89 to 91, wherever you draw the line, Pax Americana ends, and the American Navy gets smaller, and suddenly globalization 20 years later, it starts with pirates off the coast of Somalia. That never would have happened when the American Navy was in its pomp in the mid-80s. When they had 600 vessels. They've got 390 vessels now. It isn't enough to police the seas. So you're seeing these things fracture, and you're going into a multipolar world, and it changes. And I'm so optimistic as a person. My natural bent is to optimism. And I think Britain could turn it around so easily, but they're captured by these crazy ideas,
Right.
where they think there's absolute. I'm a big Thomas Sowell devotee, and you go, there's no solutions, only trade-offs.
I love that quote.
It's
I
the
love
best.
that quote.
But you go, yeah, you can have net zero as long as you don't give a fuck about poor people.
Right.
If you don't give a fuck about poor people, of course we can do net zero.
Done.
But those guys,
Done. Sold.
But you go, the idea that you can have energy prices are 4 times higher in the UK than they are
Is that right?
in America, and you go, but energy's in everything. It's in everything.
That's right.
It's the food, the heating, the water, everything you need. Power it's productivity. So you have to remedy that. The French, for all of their craziness, I'm a big nuclear power fan. I think we should be building not 1 or 2 plants. I think we should build a plant in every town. We've already done the testing. And the testing comes from the Cold War. We put men in nuclear submarines with small reactors for 50 years. They're all fine, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
They're all fine. That technology should be in every town. Which I don't know what's going to happen in the future. We need a statesman that's going to come along and go, I know what's going to happen in 25 years, but what if electricity was free in the UK? What if it was just free? It's going to cost something now, but it's going to be free for our children. That would be a bright beacon of, because we're 1% of global output. It doesn't make any difference if we cut to carbon zero, but we could be an example of how to run a country.
That's right.
That could be an incredible thing.
And you saw it happen in Germany, because Germany, they denuclearized all their plants, and now they're...
Well, you know why they denuclearized their plants?
Because the Green Party, the Green movement.
Well, you know who was funding the Green Party.
Aren't they watermelons?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It's the Russians, because the Russians knew they needed to sell the oil and gas. I mean, that's not conspiratorial. That's just business.
Folks, there is one and only one product that I was happy to do a sponsored episode with, because that's how much I believe in what they're producing, and that's Just Thrive Probiotics. So probiotics, if you've had stomach issues, I struggled with them for a long time. I had a friend who had Crohn's, coworker, I wouldn't call him a friend, and he said, just try this, and I did, and my issues were resolved very quickly. And I had thought this is how I'm going to be for the rest of my life. I just have issues with digestion. If this sounds similar to what you're going through, please, I'm begging you, go to justthrivehealth.com, use promo code WELCOME, and you get 20% off risk-free. If you don't like it, full product refund. I'm telling you, stomach issues are something that affect every aspect of your life, and you don't know what it's like to feel normal. And now I can eat whatever I want and still maintain my underwear physique at the best of times, not always. They also have a new product called Just Thrive Digestive Bitters. And these are capsules that have 12 bitter herbs, which are clinically proven to wake up your digestive system so you don't have any bloat, burps, and comfortable digestion like when you're younger. So if you're interested in their digestive bitters, in their probiotics, and some of their other great products, I love this company. I use this company. Go to justthrivehealth.com. Use promo code WELCOME. You get 20% off. Your health is worth it. Being able to have a good relationship with food is such an important thing, and I'm so grateful that I found probiotics when I did. I wonder whatever happened to that guy. I'm sure he's fine. Anyway, justthrivehealth.com, promo code WELCOME, 20% off. And thank you, Just Thrive, for all the great work that you do and for sponsoring this episode. Let's get back to the show. One of the things you are obviously, I hate this expression because I'm not a fan of it, but free speech is a big part of your show. And this is something that's a big...
How did free speech become a right-wing thing? The fuck is going on? Free speech is for everyone. It's like it has to be for everyone, and it has to be like, the thing I love about America is the First Amendment, that you go, it's enshrined. You can't fuck with it, because as soon as you have like the online safety bill, it's like, well, who's watching the watchers? Who decides what is and what isn't acceptable? And well, you can't watch that video because it might be harming to a teenager. And you go, yeah, but who makes the decision about what's harmful and what's not harmful?
And I'm not a teenager, so what's the point anyway? Right here.
Yeah, I just think that, you know what? Look. Civilization is Robert Frost, isn't it? Civilization is a clearing in the forest.
Right.
And there was a brief moment there with Fukuyama and the end of history where we thought, oh, we've won all of these rights and we're never going to have to fight for them again. And you go, no, we have to relitigate all of that shit. All of that. We have to relitigate feminism. We have to relitigate freedom of speech. We have to relitigate liberty. Like, okay, fine, but we're in it, but we at least we know what we're going for.
So I'm going to, that's funny you did that because you just set up a perfect callback, because after I watched that Iron Lady clip, I went back and watched the real speech from Parliament. Right. And she's much less triumphalist, much calmer because the war just been won. But what's his name? Tony Benn, is that his name? Yeah. Gets up and starts calling it unnecessary war. And Thatcher concludes by saying, may I remind my right honorable friend that this free speech that he's using so well would be nothing if people hadn't fought for it. Yeah. So that's that point of, this was an issue in the 80s and in the 60s and the 20s when they're censoring Ulysses.
Well, listen, there's no solutions, only trade-offs. You can be anti-war, but you better be pro-subjugation.
Yeah.
You can absolutely be a pacifist, but you better be ready to have a boot on your fucking neck, because that's what happens. And you go, that idea that we can somehow shuffle off our guilt, like the idea of going, we're net zero, so we close down our coal-powered power stations and we import the oil from somewhere else and the gas from somewhere else. Sorry, what's the fuck are you talking about? Or we want to spend less on defense, so we let Daddy America take care of our defense. And we let NATO's paid for by the States. It's not acceptable. You have to kind of face up to that you know, some things are necessary. Some things are worth fighting for.
But I mean, your act, a lot of the jokes, you had gasps even here in Austin, right? Yeah. So is my understanding correct that some of those jokes you could go to jail for in the UK?
No, I think there's a weird thing where there's people call him two-tier Keir.
Right.
But obviously there are more tiers.
Sure.
And there are many tiers, Keir. And I think the government would have to lose their fucking mind before they would step to me. You know what I mean? It's like that thing of like, you go, they're not going to come for like
J.K. Rowling.
The people that get cancelled, like you think it's a problem for famous people that want to, he wants to tell terrible jokes, and that's not free speech, that's bigotry. Oh, fine, you have that silly argument. Most people that get cancelled are regular people.
Right, that's right.
Regular people that misspoke and said something, and they, you know, intent is a lot. Intent counts for an awful lot. I think you just have to, it's not, free speech isn't freedom of consequences. No one wants freedom from consequences. We just go, no, we want to be able to say whatever we want to say. If people don't want to buy a ticket to that, if they don't want to hear it, fine, they can not come. But what cancel culture, I think, when it becomes cancel culture is when you go, not only do I not want to hear this, I don't think anyone should be allowed to hear this. That's when it becomes a problem for me.
But am I understanding correctly that if it's illegal now in the UK, if you tell or you or somebody else tells a joke that might cause hate or some very loose language there?
It's very Maoist language.
Right, exactly.
So the idea of hate speech or unconscious bias is straight out of Mao's playbook. And people can't see this. I mean, listen, you wrote the book. You literally wrote the book on this. There's one lesson we learned from the last 100 years, which is fascism is wrong. And the other great lesson, which is that communism's wrong, has somehow got lost in the shuffle. Somehow you can wear a t-shirt with Che Guevara on it and everyone, hey, cool, great. Like they don't see the horror. Somehow it's just not there. So I guess we have to relitigate that one as well.
But I'll defend the Che shirts because the joke is people wearing it don't know who he is. But that's kind of the point, isn't it? Right? Isn't it like that someone can become a symbol independently of who they really were? Like Bill Cosby's comedy is still valid, even if everything he was accused of is true.
Yes, I can separate the artist from the, but but that veneration of Maoists or Stalinists or whatever is just the cruelty with which they operated it has kind of been forgotten in history. I mean, I'm telling you this. No,
but I don't think I don't think it's been forgotten. I don't think there was so let me talk about a very specific incident where this all kind of started, which is Emma Goldman leaves the Soviet Union. She was a lifelong anarchist, advocate of violence, as left as it gets. Red Emma. She goes to the UK.
Gives the speech.
She goes to the UK, right? All the lefties like, hell yeah, this is our queen, and standing ovation. And she's going on and on. This is not for the workers. It's worse than the czar. There's no free speech. People are subjugated. And by the end, you could
silence.
Hear pin drop.
Yeah.
You got sold out to the bourgeoisie. What happened to you? You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So for a century, all this stuff wasn't known. It was just denial to this day. We look at Diane Abbott, my hero, on the show saying Mao did more good than harm.
Yeah, it's extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's really extraordinary. Well, I mean, I think that thing about going, look, there's great fault on either extreme. Right?
Sure.
Because the left think the right are the problem, and the right think the left are the problem.
No, I think the left say the right are the problem.
At least the centrists agree on what the problem is.
What's that?
There's certain things that we just need to deal with.
Sure.
There's the economy and there's the everyday folk trying to get on with their lives and certain problems that we need to solve. I mean, you're an anarchist, right?
Right.
Which is unusual.
Sure.
But it's a very interesting point of view because it kind of makes you a non-fungible human. Because with most people, you can ask them what their opinion is on one issue, like ask them what they think about trans, and every other opinion they have. They're in an omni-cause. Great. And I like to be surprised. I like it when people go, well, I think this about this and this about this and different things. You go, I don't agree with anyone about everything. Like the idea of joining a political party is kind of crazy. Because you go, it's going to be a loose alliance at best.
Sure.
Because people aren't going to agree on everything.
But I think they are. I think the average person doesn't have a true false filter, but an us-them filter. And they genuinely think if I have these three issues, everything else, I'm just going to go with the tribe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're tribal creatures, I suppose. Right. It's, I wonder what's going to happen next. I mean, it does feel like we're in a fourth turning. It does feel like it's a very interesting time.
I don't like that word interesting because it's always a euphemism for often used for something bad.
Yeah.
And I think we're in a bad time. And someone asked me this morning on Twitter, I'd love to hear your thoughts, if I'm concerned about right of center authoritarianism. And I most certainly am. And I am very worried what that's going to look like.
Yes. I think the idea of people being silenced by the left was horrific. And the idea of people being silenced by the right is horrific. I think that thing of like centrism sounds, I'm like a radical moderate.
Okay.
People think being in the center is about like wishy-washy, sitting on the fence, mealy-mouthed, nothing. And no, what it is, it's a robust defense against authoritarianism because it's not left-right. It's authoritarian freedom. And freedom that's a huge win. That's like, it's unusual. That again, it's a clearing in the forest. It doesn't happen very often in history that we're this free. I think it's 30% of the world's population live in democracies.
Do you know my litmus test for whether someone's on the left or on the right?
Go on.
Do you know it?
No.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
The audience knows it. Jimmy Carr, are some people better than others?
Oh, it's a very good question. Yes, of course.
Then you're on the right.
Yeah.
Because you know what happens when you're on the left? You know what they say?
Everyone's the same?
No, they give a speech because they have cognitive dissonance and they start babbling.
Okay, yeah.
So you didn't give the speech. So
some people are better than others. Yeah.
And it's really easy because then like you think you're not better than a child abuser. You know, it's like, what are you talking about? It's obviously you are.
And I'm like, I like to think of the world as, I kind of think there's a weird thing that happens. You know, Peter Singer, the
I don't know that name.
Yeah, he's a sort of I think he's New Zealand philosopher. It's that thing of like going, the whole world has to be taken into consideration, not your little bit of it. And I think temporally and spatially, this is Derek Parfit's thing of like temporally and spatially, you've got to like respect what's going on in the world. Like there's horrific sexism and misogyny in the world.
Sure.
But the problem really isn't Hollywood.
That's right. Yeah,
the problem is the DRC.
Right. Yeah. Right.
The problem's not there. It's that like we need to triage the world's problems, and we get obsessed by our little thing, and we don't see the bigger picture.
But don't you think that's by design?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're slightly, the age of the mass media is changing. I'm a big fan of. Hang on, I'll have a drink.
Yeah. I'll just to your point. Go ahead, please.
I'm a huge fan of Neil Postman's book, Amusing Ourselves to Death.
Okay.
Did you ever read that?
No.
So it came out in like 1984,
I've heard of it.
I think.
Okay, yeah.
And it was like about Reagan and how Reagan won the election. And it was the dumbing down of America and how people used to read the newspapers. And now they read headlines at best. And then they watch the news and everything's become short form. It's so relevant to today. It's so vital as a book. It's brilliant. So Amusing Ourselves to Death. The point he makes is George Orwell wasn't right. Aldous Huxley was right. It's not 1984.
I said this many times.
It's Brave New World. We will not have our power taken from us by an authoritarian overlord. We will give it away for cheap fucking dopamine.
I am ready to give you power of attorney because you have like verbatim said things I've said many times. But this is something I'm very, very scared about. I would love to hear you expand on this at some length. It used to be that like if me and you were having an argument, I would just Google something, and by and large Google is largely reliable, right? Wikipedia for all its plus and minuses isn't complete rubbish all the time, especially for things like dates and things like that. I have gotten a point. I had a picture of there's this guy you've never heard of named Tom Woods. He's a very failed podcaster, and I did a cartoon with him, and there was a drawing of him from this cartoon we did, and someone asked Grok, who is this? And they said, it's from my book, Ego and Hubris, the graphic novel written about me. And when I'm arguing with Grok saying, no, it's not, haha, very funny, I'm certain it is from Ego and Hubris. Now, what that means is whoever controls Grok is now controlling the brains of everyone who goes to Grok to make decisions for them, which is increasingly a huge percentage of the population. Now, in one sense, AI is going to get better and that's going to get more reliable. But on the other hand, more and more people are going to be just, you know, like how if I'm using Uber, I put the address in the app tells the driver and the driver goes there, but the driver is really irrelevant. At a certain point, we have Waymo now. Yeah. So people are being irrelevant in this discussion because that person has completely outsourced his thinking to an AI, which is very programmable. It's
terrifying. It's Charlie Brooker's a really good friend of mine. And I think that the Black Mirror stuff seemed fantastical when he wrote that 12 years ago. Now it's like, that all happened very quick.
Yes.
This is all happening now. I've got a couple of takes on AI that I think are worth talking about. Okay, so the first one is, it's a covers band. It's the same reason I'm not worried about China. They're a covers band. It's a very good covers band, but it's basically just it's throwing back things, and it's read everything, but it's run out of stuff to read. And AI, it strikes me, is brilliant. It impresses us because we live in a very left brain world.
Okay.
You ever read Ian McGilchrist, the Master in His Emissary?
Yes.
Left brain, right brain.
I hate that book.
I loved it.
Did you really?
Yeah. So that idea that you go, okay, left brain is lists and it's the world we live in and it's complicated things, and right brain is the gestalt,
right,
and the whole of something, complex things. So complicated things are very easy, right? Landing on the moon is easy. It's one step after another, and there might be 10 million steps, but you know what to do.
Yeah, linear. Yeah.
Complex things, who's going to win the football game? Impossible to know. falling in love, impossible to know, the wonderful piece of music that just makes your heart sing. It's the gestalt. And that's what humans do brilliantly. And our culture has kind of got rid of that. The reason I think comedy is having such a moment is because we're good at that thing of putting these different thoughts together and coming up with something new, and it's exciting and vibrant. And AI is not really doing that. They haven't, like, it's not writing the brilliant novel that people are passionate about. It's not writing the brilliant piece of music. And why is that? Well, there's something missing if it's just left brain. It's like a genius Rain Man style autistic guy. That's AI. It doesn't have the humanity that you need. My other worry about AI, and this I think I'd like to talk to you about, is the idea that the real fear people are worried about, it's going to take my job. Don't worry about that. 90% of people used to be farmers and we all found other jobs. Don't worry about your job. Here's what you should worry about. The barriers to entry, the cost of running an authoritarian regime like the Stasi
are much lower.
Have come down by 5 orders of magnitude.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to get to the point where I could run the Stasi off of my laptop. There's 100 million cameras in America, and facial recognition is what it is, and we know where everyone is and what they just spent on coffee and where they're going and what they're doing, and we know everything about everyone. The government has that power. Will they resist the temptation to use that? And it's I don't know, it's not looking good.
I had a tweet where I said capitalism is so much more effective than communism, that the corporate America has implemented Maoism in a way that the Chinese CCP would never dream of doing. We had struggle sessions where people would all have to get on a conference call and claim themselves as racist, which is straight out of Maoism. But to your point about people,
it's the Gang of Four.
People not losing their jobs. This is my big concern. And I would love to hear your thoughts, because I've been worried about this a lot. There's a theory that what if the human being has become like the horse, right? And in the 1910s,
right?
Because we're at a point where AI is better at recognizing humor than the average person. It is better at being a conversationalist than the average person. Right now in San Francisco, it used to be Uber and Lyft, and now Waymo has surpassed Lyft to be number 2. It's just a matter of time till it's number 1. What do you do with that 50-year-old housewife who, not educated, but an honest person, good morals? What does she offer the market that the computer can't? And it's getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, I mean, I do worry about this. I worry about universal basic income, which is effectively operational in the UK.
It's a nightmare.
You go, okay, so, but we need to get rid of that. Here's why. I could be wrong about this, by the way. And if I'm wrong, what we should be doing is A/B testing. We should be taking a town and saying we're going to give them universal basic income, and we're not going to give it to these people. And if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit.
Didn't they do that in some Scandinavian countries?
Some Scandinavian countries sort of tried it, but on quite a small scale.
Okay.
But I think that idea of going universal basic income, it strikes me it's the same thing on a different level as a trust fund kid.
Yeah, that's right.
Find me a trust fund kid that's happy, right?
Right.
It's basically a cancer on purpose.
Yes.
And when you ask people what gives them happiness in life, the short answer is a vacation, right? The short answer is, if you say, what make you happy? Well, I want to sit on the beach and drink pina coladas. Great, for 2 weeks.
Right.
But actually, 10 days is the perfect length for a holiday. 2 weeks is too much. 4 days too much. So you go, actually, what you want is purpose and to be useful in the world. If you have a depressed friend, if you have a suicidal friend, I know we both have an interest in talking about publicly. If you have a depressed friend, here's what you say to them. Listen, I appreciate you want to kill yourself. Can you help me with this, though? Because I'm working on this project and I need you on this. I can't do without you. You've got to help me. Don't ask what you can do for a friend that's depressed. Ask them for a favor. Let them be useful in the world.
I went to visit Roger Ver in Mallorca. So if you don't know who he is, they call him Bitcoin Jesus. He owns Bitcoin.com. They're trying to get him for tax evasion in the States. They're trying to put him in for 100 years. They're saying, oh, you mailed a fraudulent tax return. That's mail fraud. That's
sorry. Where is he now?
He's in Mallorca. Right?
I think he's going to be okay.
No.
Stay.
Let me finish to your point. His house is beautiful, but it's a prison.
Yes.
So I was there. And I'm not going to get into details because whatever, but you look around and it's amazing. And you're like, this is hell. Because at a certain point, the view, who the hell cares? You can only look at the Mediterranean for so long before you're like, what am I doing here? It's when people were going after defending Jimmy Kimmel getting suspended. They unsuspended him, by the way, if you haven't heard.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, just today.
Oh, well, great, because I think that thing about
Well,
going.
let me just finish the point.
Yeah,
But people were like, "Oh, he'll be fine. He's rich." I'm like, do you think everyone who's rich is happy? Like, what are you insane? Like, look at Hollywood. Look at all those actors and actresses. They're all like hopped up on goofballs, not because they're content.
No, it's that thing with. Do you ever speak to Morgan Housel?
No, I don't know what that is.
He wrote this book called The Psychology of Money, which is maybe the most important book of the last 10 years. It's a brilliant book. He wrote another one called Same as Ever. He's a great writer. He's very good on talking about money and like what it's for and what it is. And there's an idea that I think money, rich and famous, has replaced heaven in a secular world.
Yeah, that's right.
I think we believe that, well, if I have all of that, then everything will be okay. And despite looking at Harry and Meghan and the Kardashians and the dumpster fire that is Kanye's life, we go, yeah, but if I was rich and famous, everything would be fine.
It's so crazy.
And it's the idea. I mean, I like Nietzsche for this. I like the idea that you go, it's really, I blame Plato and I blame the Zarathustrans, who were at the same sort of time, both came up independently with the idea of perfection and heaven. There being a perfect version of the world. And the communists did it too.
Oh, yes.
In a way, they promise perfection in this life, in the same way that religion promises perfection in an afterlife. Embrace the chaos. Embrace the chaos. Life is messy and it's all over the place and it's never going to be neat and tidy and just great. That should be a rush of blood to the head. That should be, that's fantastic. It's not ever going to be perfect. And the idea that some people think it's going to be perfect, because the problem with thinking it's going to be perfect is you go down the communist route and you go, right, this is going to be perfect. Well, if it's going to be a perfect world, is it worth a couple of people have to die?
Right.
I mean, by any means necessary means millions died.
Do you know what Camus says, my hero Camus? He goes, maybe it's not about happy endings, maybe it's about the journey. And amen. Like this idea of people, it's I don't even know how to, because money loses utility pretty quick, right? If you pay for the roof over your head, you go out to dinner, not look at the check, you go on trips once in a while and buy nice clothes, you're pretty much there in terms of how much money you need.
Well, I do think there's a listen to older guys who have made a few quid talking about this. I think what we desperately need to do to stop the right, why are young people so drawn to the left, to communism, to that world, socialism? And I think it's because capitalism isn't dealing in the youth. I think if I was in charge of America, I would cancel the debt, student debt, on only bullshit degrees. I would go through the degrees and I go, oh, you've got a degree in medicine. No, you owe us $300,000.
Right.
Why? Because you got a great degree, you got a great job, it delivered for you. And I would say, you've got a degree in gender studies. Okay, yeah, we're cancelling the debt on that.
But it does deliver.
You were missold that product. There's the overproduction of elites is what led to the kind of woke thing. We overproduced elites. We promised people that go to university, study hard, do this, and you're going to have a great life. You're going to be one of the elites. And then we didn't deliver that. That's very unfair. We missold those products. It should be like an insurance scandal where we go, that's Bernie Madoff. Those universities missold those degrees. They have to pay the money back to those people. You wasted their time. That's fine. But you have to cancel that debt.
Guys, I have been a sheath underwear model for several years now, and I'm kind of livid that they sent over an ad read and "You're welcome" is spelled wrong and it says Mike Malice. But even though I'm annoyed at that, I can't be too annoyed because I'm wearing sheath underwear right now. I wear it every day, 24/7, yes, even in the shower, because sheath is the most comfortable underwear you're ever going to wear. What makes sheath special is their dual pouch technology. And the first time you try it, you're going to be like, what is this? And then years later, here I am wearing it all the time because they have one pouch for one part of your male anatomy and another pouch for another part of your male anatomy. It sounds weird, but let me tell you, it's very comfortable. And it's also really kind of fun if you're having a date, God help me if I ever did, job interview, doing this show. You're sitting there talking to somebody the whole time knowing your underwear is grabbing your junk and keeping it snug and secure. It keeps you cool in the summer and keeps you nice and snug in the cold weather. Try it out. I promise you, you're going to like it. All you got to do is go to sheathunderwear.com, use promo code Malice, you get 20% off. You'll be one step closer to being an underwear model like myself. They've got shirts, they've got hoodies, all super comfortable, all super fun. Support the underwear that supports you. That's Sheath Underwear. Sheathunderwear.com. Use promo code MALICE for 20% off. And now I'm going to go talk to their manager. This is outrageous. Let's get back to the show. So I convinced, I don't remember how many it was. It's a lot of people when I was in college to become business majors, because I'm like, you like psychology? That's great. We have an amazing library here. Go read all the psychology books you want, minor in it. You're here to get a credential. That's the only thing that matters. And they listened to me, and I'm glad I did it. But to your point, I think a lot of these, even that gender studies degree, that person will still have a lot better chance of getting a job than someone just has a high school diploma.
Well, it's interesting, that thing of like, what is,
it's a status
if we
thing.
get down to, but if we get down to brass tacks, it's the right word. Because if we get down to brass tacks, what is woke? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's American Marxism. It's better thought of as American Marxism. Call it what it is, right? And it's not about the redistribution of wealth, which incidentally I think does need to happen, right? The redistribution of wealth is not a bad idea. The redistribution of status is madness.
That's what it is, yes.
Not all, we can never have equality, because nature, red in tooth and claw, we don't have equal gifts. We all have different things. And different things are, I'm a very lucky man, because it so happens that Richard Pryor, never met, and George Carlin, never met, came along 50 years ago and created this world of kind of stand-up comedy in the modern age. And I'm standing on the shoulders of those giants. And I got to come along, and I've got a sense of humor, and I was able to create this life for myself as a stand-up comic. Oh my God, the luck upon luck upon luck to be here now, to have that, right? And I'm able to do this. What I have is value. If I'd been born 200 years ago, I'd be working in the docks, right? This isn't, oh, he's a funny guy. Yeah, great. He's a real cracker. Who gives a fuck? People like opera. Okay. It's not a thing. Or if I was born in fucking Russia in the 50s. That guy's funny, yeah. We should probably shoot him. Why don't we shoot him in the head? Like, the luck to be here now, and you have to kind of, respect that. It's like,
I said that to Roseanne. It's like, you had to be Roseanne, or like, can you imagine her at a business meeting? Like, it would be a complete disaster. But
I think the redistribution of status, though, the idea that you go, we can have equality in society, it's kind of it's a madness. It's the idea of like telling kids that the world's not fair. You know, the world isn't fair. There's different people, and some of them are doing well. But it's that thing of like when I was talking about the Derek Parfit and the idea of the globe, and you go, there is a lot of inequality in the world, but it's not between you and Elon Musk, right? It's between, because you both in the same category for me. You're both in the flushing toilets category. I like being the flushing toilets category. Everywhere I go, there's a flushing toilet. It's fucking great. I tell you who's not laughing. Sub-Saharan Africa.
Right.
Going, there seems to be fucking, there's no running water, and there's no trains, and there's no public transport, and there's no nothing, and we can't get enough to eat, and we're not getting enough calories, and this is a fucking shit show. And what are we doing? Nothing for them. So for me, it's about that humanity as a whole. It's much more, that's a much more left-wing sort of view, but I do view that as going, like, that for all of the faults of empire, you go, well, how many people did we bring out of poverty with that? And how many more could we? Right. How much more could be done? And people think that's the worst thing in the world to say, but you go, well, actually, what do you want to do?
What's your alternative?
Yeah. I don't know. You end up just doing nothing then.
It's funny because speaking of like first world problems, some of these like third world countries where the kids are working, right? People are like, oh my God, that's horrible. It should be abolished. It's like, if that kid's not working, they're either dying from starvation because they're working to feed themselves, or they're being sold into and being used in that capacity. It's not the kind of job you want them to have.
Oh yeah, listen. If you want to know about horrific stories, have a little Google of the child workers in the gold mines of South Africa.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of them are not working as miners. It's horrific. It's like, you can't believe how cruel and awful the world is. And it's right now. It's that great, is it? What's the quote is, I'm trying to think of the name. It's a sci-fi writer from Canada, William Gibson.
Okay.
I think it's Gibson.
Neuromancer?
I could be right. It's William Gibson's the writer, but he said the future is here, but it's not evenly distributed.
That's right, yeah.
So that idea of like going, I spent a lot of time in Norway, right? So gigging up in the north of Norway. It's just unbelievably beautiful, and everything works. And I don't know what their tax rate is. It's like 75% or something crazy.
Is it great, really?
And no one gives a flying fuck because everything works. And the difference between rich and poor is like the guy that owns the factory lives on the same street as the guy that works as in the washing up in the canteen. He's got a slightly nicer car than him. Like, there's a little bit of status going on there because people are people, but it's like everything fucking works.
Do you know the Norwegian joke about British people?
Go on, what's that?
Do you know it?
No, what's the gag?
Why are this? I'm a Norwegian speaking. Why are there no beautiful women in Great Britain? We took them.
Yeah, okay.
You never heard that one?
No, I did. Okay, so I've got two. The classic Norwegian joke is, how do you tell a Norwegian extrovert?
How?
Because when he's talking to you, he's staring at your shoes, not his own. I did a gig in Iceland. This is years ago. I said, and the Icelandic people are very proud of their Viking heritage.
Yeah.
And this guy was telling me, oh yeah, we were Vikings. We went all around Europe. I'm in front of 1,000 people in Reykjavik, and he said we went around Europe. We went to all the different countries, and we took all the most beautiful women, and we brought them all back to Iceland. Yeah. And I went, well, it begs the question: where are you hiding them?
Oh, you said that.
They were like, sense. A woman came up to me afterwards and went, you made that joke about Icelandic women not being attractive. What about that?
What did you say?
She was like a legit 10.
Okay.
I went, no, okay, yeah, well done.
What's even funnier is, you've done Rogan, right?
Yeah.
So whenever I've done that show and I leave, I'm like, fuck, what did I just say? Because it's 3 hours, you're running your mouth, it's hard to be on for that long.
Sure.
Maybe for you it's easier, but not for me. And one of my earliest appearances, what got me in shit was me saying how ugly British women are, and it was a throwaway comment, and then it turned out like the number one thing Googled in Europe is, why are British women so ugly? Like there was headlines in the Guardian. Yeah. So I felt some vindication, but it's a minor point. One of the things that you must enjoy, as cliche of a question as this is doing stand-up allows you to travel and really see the world and get paid for it.
It's the idea of like travel and actually, just getting to go to places and having something to do there as opposed to being a tourist. It is remarkable. You talk about privileges. My God.
What are some of the best places that you visited? Because I just did Japan last year and it blew my mind.
Well, Japan, I got to play the Tokyo Dome,
Holy
which is
crap.
where the footage of the great Beatles footage of them playing there. Got to play that. Japan. We're never going to get to go to Blade Runner Future World on another planet, right? Sorry, Elon, we don't.
Right.
But Japan, Tokyo on a good day is like, I think I went off world.
Yeah.
That it's just superb. I love India.
Oh, okay.
I love India. Like the whole, India's like saying one thing. It's like going, I love Europe. You go, sure. Could you be more specific? Like, because it's so different in different places.
Okay.
But, I love Delhi. I love Bangalore. Sorry, they change the name of everything every 2 minutes, but I can't keep up. But it's so fucking fun and crazy to play those places. I did Istanbul. I still call it Constantinople, but I played Istanbul last year. That was a fucking trip, because that's like, it's a 5-hour flight from London. It's not that far, but you feel like I've gone long haul, and I seem to have gone back in time.
Yeah.
So that's good, and beautiful people. Amazing. And like I never got to do Russia, and I think it might be a long time before that turns again, but God willing. But I've done a lot of Eastern Europe. It's amazing. And there was a great thing that happened about I noticed about 10 years ago, a change in people's level of English got better and around the world. And it was YouTube and Netflix were the driving forces of the lingua franca of the world. Talk about soft power. Try and land a plane in fucking Russian. Good luck.
Right.
It's British aviation, the language. Like the language is everything, right? That's the operating system of humanity now, is English. And you like playing in those places where people had learned comedy. They'd learned English. And the last phase was comedy. So they watched comedy specials. They watched a lot of mine because I've got a nice pronunciation. So they watched my comedy specials, and the comedy was secondary to learning the language. Because if you get a joke in another language, that's when you know. It's not a dreaming in another language. You know it when you get the joke.
I learned English watching Three's Company, or as you call it, Man About the House.
Yeah.
And once I was in the Fox News green room and Suzanne Summers walked in, and I completely lost it, but I was trying to keep calm, which probably made it only worse.
Yeah.
I went up to her and I'm like, oh, and she could not be nicer. And she goes, that's very common, that people watch that show because it was so physical that you could really understand what they're saying. It's almost like a early talkie.
Of course.
So it was really, really great.
That's great. What age were you when you moved here?
2, but we spoke Russian at home,
Yeah. No, I'm from an Irish family that moved to the UK. And I do think there's something about like first generation kind of immigrants there's a inbuilt gratitude for how great this is.
Yeah.
Not that, I go back to Ireland a lot and I love it. incredible place, incredible people. But you come to London or whatever, and it was like and we were economic migrants, plain and simple.
Right.
It's that thing if you just go, but so wanted to be there.
I got to ask you, because anti-Irish discrimination in the States is like a joke, like literally, because it's so bizarre that it's not a thing. And I remember when I was writing The White Pill, when the IRA bombed Harrods, which is Britain's big department store, Dennis Thatcher, not Margaret Thatcher's husband, said he went there the next day and he goes, "No damned Irishman is going to keep me from my holiday shopping." And it's like a real thing over there. Can you explain to Americans?
I don't think it's a thing
It's
anymore.
not? Okay,
but it's
good.
like, so I remember being a kid,
Right.
and being in the newsagents, like the little store where you would buy the paper and sweets
Yeah.
and things, with my mother. And my mother was a larger than life Irish woman. And the guy behind the counter said, he was talking to someone else, but said very loudly, these Irish should be with their children.
So how old were you?
I was like 5 or 6.
Okay.
And my mother fucking eviscerated the guy. Just like went off on him, and shut him down. I mean, we lived in it was a small village or whatever, but like it was a genuine kind of. She had a very strong Irish accent, and I think that's gone. And
Oh, good. Okay.
there's a joyful thing to that, because that's living memory. I remember that there was some level of discrimination, not a big deal or whatever. That's gone now. It's got like it doesn't make any sense anymore. Like, the discrimination against Irish people. You go, well, that's good. It's like in a generation, like people go, things can't change. Things can fucking change.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Things can change quickly. Like everyone goes, no one knows enough history. Everyone goes, oh, we can't do regime change because look at Iraq and look at Afghanistan. I go, all right. What about Japan and Germany?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Again, you don't have to look at that much. It's things can change over quite short time periods.
Wait, so I'm just curious what that was like. Like when you were a little kid, and to know someone on site is going to want you dead. Did that?
Yeah, but
no?
I think when you're I don't think it's like it's not a bigger deal than it was. It was like someone being rude,
Okay.
and it's nothing. So who gives a fuck? Some ignorant fucker, whatever.
So where are the places that you don't like, where people don't get your sense of humor?
No, everyone gets it. It's self-selecting though, isn't it? It's like
That's
there's
right,
places
sure.
where I sell less tickets, but everyone that comes to see me has like very few people are wandering in blind now going, oh, I guess it's not like playing a club. I love playing clubs because you it's that thing where you go, some people are in there going, well, we
Right.
just want to see some comedy, and what are you doing? And sometimes you're taking it, to a place they maybe wouldn't feel comfortable, and hopefully they'll be funny. I love cognitive dissonance in an audience. I love that thing when people laugh, because your sense of humor is just who you are. It's like your taste in food or your sexual
That's right, yeah.
preferences. It's who you are. Some people like spicy, some people like mild. That's fine. I make no judgment. But I love that thing when someone laughs and then there's the intake of breath. So you have to get the laugh first, because it's so easy just to shock and just to say outlandish things, and you will get a reaction. But it has to be a laugh first, and then the laugh, and then the, oh, we laughed at that. Because your conscience turns up late to the party. The conscience is an affectation.
Are you familiar with my favorite comic, Neil Hamburger?
Oh, come on.
Right. Because
Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? But that, I mean, just it's meta, but it's so lacking in pretense. Sometimes when someone does like something, it's a bit, and it's
Yeah.
too meta, kind of joke on a joke.
To Williamsburg, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, really, really fucking funny.
But to your,
and playing to the back of the room, like just the comics going, this is fucking amazing.
I said that I saw him in LA once, and a girl was on a date with her boyfriend seated ahead of me, and like people wandering in, she turns to me, she goes, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And it was one of the greatest comic moments of my life. I was just dying.
Yeah,
just
it kind of makes it better. It makes
right?
it better when someone goes, what the fuck is going on?
Why is everyone laughing?
Yeah. And you feel like, but that's a great thing of like I don't know what he's like to watch. I've seen him live a bunch of times, but I've never watched anything back, like on YouTube and maybe that thing of, the thing that I felt about that was we're in a gang.
Yeah, that's right.
It felt like
Yes.
when we watched it, like in the club, it was like, we all get this.
Yes.
It's like we were in a secret society. There was a wonderful camaraderie with that. I do think like at its best, a comedy gig, it's tribal. Like everyone goes, yeah, we get this.
Yes.
He's saying these terrible things. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Everyone's welcome. It's great.
He opened for Tenacious D in the UK once, and they did not know who he was. And he's going on, and they're booing him, throwing things at him. And he goes, all right, Do you want me to bring out Tenacious D? They're like, yes. Do you want me to bring out Jack Black? I forgot the guy's name. Yes. Okay, let me hear it. Do you guys want to see Tenacious D? Yes. He goes, okay. If I tell this joke and you don't boo me, then I'll bring out the Men of the Hour, Tenacious D. And he goes, why did E.T. like Reese's Pieces so much? Because that's what sperm tasted like in his home planet. 2 people laugh. And he goes, thanks for that reaction. I guess I'll do an encore. 10 more minutes. He had to have security escort him backstage. It's just, I just love that comedy, like terrorism.
Yeah.
But you do a little bit of that because a lot of the stuff that you do in certain contexts, people don't feel safe laughing at it in this day and age, I think.
I think they do. I mean, I'm very blessed, I think, in that, again, I say they're self-selecting. People come see my show and they're ready for it to be, there's going to be jokes about everything.
Right.
And it's going to be...
Can confirm.
Yeah.
I can confirm that's the case.
And you go, well, look, everyone's in here. And sometimes if someone gets offended by my show, it's like, dude, you bought tickets to a horror movie and your complaint is you're scared?
Oh, I got
the fuck are you talking about?
I got a question for you.
God.
This is going to drive the audience crazy, which is what I love to do. I heard a rumor that after a certain one of your shows, a certain prominent podcaster, and it's not Rogan, it's not me, cornered you in the green room or and said, you know what, one of those jokes was really not appropriate. Like you're better than that, something like that. And you said, well, go on. We're like, what was it? Let's have a conversation. He goes, nope, we're not doing this. And he stormed out and left. Did that really happen?
Oh no, Eric came up. First time I ever met Eric. This is what I love about Eric. A non-fungible genius human.
That's true.
No, he would say, if he was sitting here, I'd say, I'm totally fine with this. So Eric came up to me at a conference that we're at. The first time I ever met him, I said, I'm a huge fan of your work. He said, oh, I know you're the guy. The joke you made about 9/11, I thought was despicable.
That's what this was. Okay.
And I said, yeah, okay. All right, let's talk about physics. And we talked about physics.
That was it.
Yeah, no, I did that joke about...
What was the joke?
So I did a roast of Rob Lowe.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And I was on the roast of Rob Lowe, and also on the roast was, what was he called? Saturday Night Live guy.
The one who has Hillary's tattooed on him.
Yeah, what's...
With his dad who died in it, right?
Why is my... Yeah, so Pete Davidson's on the roast with us, and Pete is sat there, and I said, I'm appalled that people would make jokes about Pete Davidson's father, who died a hero, firefighter, in 9/11. This is not the roast of Pete Davidson's father. That was in 2001. I did have the good grace to run it past Pete first.
Right, of course.
He saw me the night before. I said, I'm going to say this. What do you think? He went, this is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Obviously he's lost. I think people that have been through something as well. It's like people get offended on behalf of someone, not because they get offended on behalf of someone because they go, oh, they'll be upset. And you go, they're fine. They had to deal with the real thing. The words don't make any difference. But the thing about Eric Weinstein, who's a dear friend, and I think he's slightly mental-ish. He's got this wonderful kind of, he's just such a polymath. He's so great on stuff. He takes me to lunch occasionally when I'm in LA, and I always come away fucking blown away by the guy.
People don't appreciate
he's so smart.
People don't appreciate how funny he is in real life.
Yeah,
it doesn't come through, and he's absolutely hilarious and a goofball, and you never see that in other contexts.
No, and it's also like the musicianship. No one kind of gives him credit. He's like a fucking great little musician.
Is that true?
Yeah,
I believe it.
He's properly good, and I think it's that thing of like he's speaking. There's different languages. Music's a language, very separate. Like why do you play that in B minor? Why does it affect our hearts? There's something going on there linguistically. And physics, I think everything else, every other piece of science is stamp collecting. Physics is the real thing. Interesting physicists are fascinating.
Hey, it's James Altucher. I've been an entrepreneur, investor, best-selling writer, stand-up comic, and whatever it is I'm interested in, I get obsessed. Yes, it's led to success, but it's also led to such heartbreaking failure. I have failed more times than I can count. I wish in my life I had people to talk to. That's why I started the James Altucher Show and bring on some of the most brilliant minds in every area of life. People like Richard Branson, Sarah Blakely, Mark Cuban, Danica Patrick, Gary Kasparov. And I wanted to find out exactly how they've navigated the highs, the lows, and everything in between. No fluff, just raw stories and real advice. I've talked to 1,500 of the most amazing people on the planet. So if you want to learn from the best and skip the same old canned interviews, we're all about helping you find your next big idea, level up your thinking, and ultimately to choose yourself. So let's do this together. Subscribe now to The James Altucher Show.
Let's get back to the show. Ricky Gervais had this great tweet, which really I thought was superb, where he said, people often confuse the subject of a joke with the target of a joke. I remember specifically when Ron Paul was having a stroke live on TV, and I was in touch with people and I knew he was going to be fine. So, and I tweeted out, I said, Ron Paul is doing a superb Joe Biden impression. And people were, to this day, are flipping out like, oh my God, you're making fun of Ron Paul. Like, no, I'm making fun of Joe Biden.
Well, if you ever have a stroke, you'll be laughing on the other side of your face. I really feel like you let the side down.
But
everything you say is a slur.
That's in my head, at least.
There you go. There's some stroke jokes for you.
Damned Irishman. But people often get that confused.
Yeah, but that's okay. Listen, I also think it's that thing where you go, if there's a show and there's like 2 hours of jokes, and you're offended by that one thing, okay, it's like. That's not what happened with Eric Weinstein. So Eric Weinstein, that one joke from a set at a roast, in the context of a roast where everyone's laughing and it cuts away and everyone's laughing and having a great time. And it's fun, right? If suddenly that joke is taken out, edited, and appears in the feed of whatever social media he was looking at in isolation, and he's having coffee at 9:30 in the morning, that's like I shouted that joke through his letterbox.
But you know,
like its context is very important.
I just completely forgot this till now. Eric was on a podcast and he was saying that some things I said are good examples of the coarsening of our public discourse.
Yeah.
But the example he used was a tweet of mine where when Jay Leno like burned himself, right? Yeah. And I said, this is the hottest Jay Leno has been in years. It's not clever. It's not. But yeah. Jay Leno wouldn't be offended by that at all. He'd be like, okay, who cares? No one would. It's.
Well, Eric made one of the best points I've heard about the cancel culture and silencing people, deplatforming people, and it's such a great point. He said, you know what we've lost? Mustn't.
Sure, yeah.
We've lost mustn't. You mustn't say that. It's not you can't. You can if you want to. You mustn't say that. That's not a nice thing to say. Like in the context of a stand-up comedy club, do what you want, obviously.
Sure.
But in public discourse, we've lost a bit of that. No, you shouldn't say that's not appropriate. That's not good. And the idea of shunning has disappeared entirely. We've lost something there. We've lost shunning. We've lost forgiveness. There's no forgiveness because we live in a never-ending now. It's just everything you've ever said is happening right now. You say people are still upset about a Joe Biden joke from 5 years ago. Yeah, and they will be in 10 years as well.
Oh, that's true.
Because it's happening right now all the time. It's just constantly there.
But do you think one of the reasons we've lost forgiveness is so much apologies nowadays is it's sincere, and it's not. I'm not. I actually feel bad. It's that I just want you to shut up and leave me alone.
Yeah, I don't think. I think there's saying you're sorry, and there's an apology.
Right.
And you can say you're sorry if you're genuinely sorry. Like, don't apologize if you don't mean it. Don't say you're sorry if you don't mean it. But an apology is a two-way piece of communication. An apology is accepted or not. Saying you're sorry is just, it's in isolation. You're just saying you're sorry. That's fine. And I think there's a weird thing of there's a great thing in that book. So You've Been Publicly Shamed.
Oh yeah, okay.
Really good book. And he sort of says in it, there's some guy that's been cancelled in France just went, I'd apologize, but who would listen?
Right.
Like no one cares. It doesn't change your opinion. Actually, they did a study, I think out of Stanford, which said they looked at people that apologized and people that didn't. And actually, if you apologize, it just makes you look more guilty. Well, he must have done something wrong then.
You know what my rule is when I feel bad when I've done something wrong? I always do restitution so that the person has a net positive experience as a whole. So if I've wronged someone...
That must have cost you a fucking fortune over the years. Christ.
Yeah, but
what? But net positive for the things you say. You must broke.
I got crypto, baby.
Sure.
I'm orange pilled.
Yeah.
But that's when, it's one thing when you wrong your friend and you're like, I'm sorry. It's another thing, you know what? Let me buy you dinner. It's just an excuse to fraternize, and they're just left. It's like, honestly, for me, the biggest influence in terms of how to deal with people is the dog whisperer. Like if you reward bad behavior, reward good behavior, punish bad behavior, I want that person to have left this exchange feeling like they've gained something from it.
There's a thing in Al-Anon about keeping your side of the road clean.
That's right. Yes.
Keep your side of the road clean. Just make sure you know that you're okay. You're all right.
But it's also making amends and doing it, like not just saying it, like, okay, what can I do to
But also,
make
I think
it
you've
whole?
got to look at the intent.
Yes,
and
that's right.
when I listen to you as a public intellectual, I kind of think, well, yeah, but this guy's trying to get to something that no one else is saying.
Sure.
This is, again, it's very non-fungible. No one else has got your standpoint. You go, and are people going to get upset along the way? Yeah,
Sure.
But that's part of it. Part of it is sort of saying it's got to be a little bit heterodox. Otherwise, you're not really changing the discourse. And I think you are slightly changing the discourse on what is and what isn't acceptable to talk about, and actually talking about anarchy and anarchism as a thing. Like no one's discussing that.
That's
and
right.
it's a very interesting idea of you go, what is emergent? Because that's what anarchy is really. It's about
Emergent order,
the emergent properties of human beings when they get together, and respecting that and talking about that a little, right? Because we're just at a very interesting stage now where I think a lot of institutions in the next sort of 4 or 5 years are going to fail.
There's that word interesting.
And then we
again.
have to rebuild them.
Yeah, but I to your point, just briefly, if I've ever offended someone through my public discourse, I don't ever care. What I meant is if a friend, I kind of misjudged or did the wrong thing, that's when I make restitution.
Yeah.
But publicly, I've never ever cared in the slightest, because to your
That
point,
comes across.
yeah, good.
Yeah, that
Because
comes across.
But what would the utility of apologizing? Like they would not believe me. To your point, I would look like weak or like a phony, and then people wouldn't believe I have the courage of my convictions. So I've never been in a position. I don't think it would be a good.
I think fine. I think an apology has its place.
Have you ever had to apologize publicly?
No. I mean, I've had to.
Okay.
But I never did.
Sure.
I think the closest was I had like a tax scandal that happened, and had to come out and go, this isn't a joke. I'm going to pay the money back. But it was such a.
Sure.
It's a really interesting thing when you have like a financial scandal, like it was a tax thing, whatever, tax avoidance. And it was so clear, if I pay the money back, I've done the thing that I meant to do.
Right, yeah.
Okay. That feels like that's a pretty simple way of conducting myself, and kind of works. People go, okay, that's great. It's when things are messy, where you go, we cannot forgive what we cannot punish. And someone has done something, and we go, well, it's not illegal, but we don't like it. But what do we do with that? When can we welcome them back? When can we, because you kind of need to be able to start again.
And I think most people who are angry at someone in public, they're just looking for a pretext to validate their anger. They don't really care about the tax thing. It's that I hate Jimmy Carr, and I have a reason to hate Jimmy Carr.
Yeah,
and I'm still going to hate Jimmy Carr after he pays it back.
It's a stick to beat you with. Yeah, I mean, the great thing about being cancelled is it's a filter. It's a wonderful filter on your friends, and you remember who called on the day, and you remember who stood by you, and you remember who was a little bit gleeful and was kind of pleased you got brought down a peg or two. And you're not kind of keeping an active log, but you go, okay, less of those people, more of those people. Great.
Yeah, that's right. Are there any subjects where you haven't joked about or don't feel comfortable joking about? Because you're going with the stuff, which I'm like, that's a line.
Yeah, it's really interesting though, because I think the interesting thing about joking about pedophilia is because what it represents in our culture is the worst thing. It's the worst thing. Interestingly, I didn't know this until recently, but like 200 years ago, the worst thing was killing your father.
Okay.
It was the worst thing people could imagine was killing your father. So to joke about that, to do anything about that was like, oh my God. Because in a tribal society,
of course,
that would be, that killing your father, patricide, would be the worst thing in the world. And now it's pedophilia, which seems very appropriate in this age. But you go, so to go to those places and to make something where you go, the stakes are immediately very high. So there's a lot of tension in the room before you even bring it up.
That's right.
And then when you kind of go hard on jokes, it's like, it's really fun. Now, obviously, anyone affected by that, you go, well, they've had to deal with the actual thing. It might be like different people. I think jokes are ways of, I sort of go with Peter McGraw on this. He's wonderful. But have you ever had him on?
No.
He's a really interesting character.
Okay.
So he came up with a theory of benign violation. So his theory is there's no such thing as an offensive joke, because by taking something that is a violation, right? The norms have been violated. Bill is a really good example of that, right? With a child, awful, right? So you take that and you make it okay by making a joke about it. you basically fumigate that. You make it palatable, benign, by talking about it and making it into a joke. So jokes can't be offensive because the intent of it is to make light of that thing, and the healing starts. We must laugh, because when we hear laughter, we know there is freedom.
Yeah, my friend Matt, who asked me to use his name, came out to me that he was a kid of childhood abuse, and I told his story on Rogan. And my point to him was, I'm still gonna make jokes around you, and he still laughs because you're still the same person I knew 2 minutes ago before you told me this. This does not define you. This is not something happening to you right now. And he's in a place where he can laugh about it because he's like, okay, there's something awful happened to me, but I'm not that kid anymore.
Yeah,
that can never happen to me again.
It doesn't need to define you. Yeah,
right. So I think there's a Lara Logan's another one. I made a joke in front of her, and she'd been assaulted by a gang of migrants, whatever. That's migrants. I don't remember where she was. She made a lighthearted comment. Point being, like, we all have our traumas. Mine are not as severe as those. But
well, listen, I did jokes about cancer the other night, and I know because I get the messages. I know I'll talk about on stage. I talk about terrible. The worst things in the world are all in the show, and we get messages from people every single night because the number comes up on the screen, so people can contact. Every single night, like there's everyone. I'm always aware there's people in the audience that are affected by that thing,
of course,
and the catharsis,
yes,
of being able to fucking laugh at it. Because what better revenge than to laugh at the fucking thing?
Yeah, because I'm not gonna let this own me.
Yeah.
I was on Babylon Bee podcast, right? Have you ever done their show?
No.
It's really, really fun. So I told the story of how there was this guy sent me some cash, a donation for PayPal. And he's like, look, my wife and my newborn are both in the ICU. I'm losing it. Your Twitter's keeping me sane. Here's a contribution. I'm like, no. I sent him back the money. I raised like, I think $300, $200, whatever it was. I go, what's something she could waste this money on? He's like, Sephora. Great. Send him a gift certificate. She has to waste this money in Sephora. She deserves it. Sends me a picture. And it's mom, dad, and the baby. And I go, I thought the bitch was white. And when I told this story on Babylon Bee, they cut the punchline. I could not believe it. I said that to him. I tweeted, I thought the bitch was white. He laughed, of course.
Yeah. The most horrifically inappropriate thing to say. Yeah, great. But you gave that guy a tiny moment.
Yes.
A tiny moment of laughter on the worst day of his life.
Yes. And also he gave another laugh when he came home.
I mean, that thing of, and you gave him a story as well.
Yes.
But that thing of going, it's I mean, I sort of say that thing at the end of my show where I go, look, having a dark sense of humor only pays out on the worst days of your life. Because if you get the diagnosis or a close friend dies, if you're one of those easily offended people, you've got to white knuckle it through the worst day of your life. Right. But if you have a dark sense of humor, at least on the worst day, well, we laughed a little. It reminds me of a story a friend of mine went to see. This is 10 years ago in London. No more, probably 20 years ago now. It was this elderly lady. She was a survivor of Auschwitz, and she was giving a talk in North London. And she spoke for maybe 90 minutes. Like a very elderly lady spoke for about 90 minutes about her experience and the horror. And they said, any questions?
Oh no, I've got one.
And
Jimmy Carr.
A guy puts up his hand.
Okay.
Guy puts up his hand at the back of the room and goes, were there any lighter moments? And he gets escorted from the building. And you go, fucking great question. Because without a sense of humor, how could you make it through that?
Hold on. Two things. First of all, my question would be, would you ever go back? Second of all, Jews invented gallows humor. So there's no way this woman didn't have like jokes in her head. But it's the only way you could survive this kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of stand-up comedy is from the Talmud. It's that thing of it's question and answer.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
It's that language of it as well, and it's the quick wits and chatting to people. Great, that's what's going to happen.
What did she say? What was her reaction?
I didn't get the report on the thing. I wasn't there, but it was
the
story. But I think it's that thing of like that was like, I remember hearing that like about 2 years before Life is Beautiful came out, and
I don't think he was saying that offensively.
No,
because it's not. Because the thing I saw, I can't go to the camps. I'm not interested in seeing them. But I remember someone wrote an essay about this, and they go, the thing that's crazy is grass grows there. and you see grass and you see birds chirping and it's in color and it's so surreal being in this place because it looks so normal and not like a newsreel. So that there's no way that when these people were in bed, they're not gossiping or trying. Because you know how I know this? Because after you go to North Korea and you see how funny they all are and how normal they all are, and they know they're in a jail, many of them, and you're like, holy crap, it'd be much easier if you were robots.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can make quick jokes and laugh about your situation, I'd almost rather you're dehumanized so I can be like, well, it's appropriate the robots are in a factory.
Yeah. That's terrifying to think, isn't it?
It's
terrifying to think that that's like, we're sitting here having a lovely conversation and that's happening right now.
Well, it's
that like 1984 is happening right now.
I got my guide to admit she loves her big brother. She didn't get the joke. The thing that is jarring about going there is the knowledge that every single person I saw everywhere I went there is still there. So this was 2012. So if you think about what you've done, everyone watching this has done in the last 13 years, and imagine you're like you're not even allowed to leave your city. And the more you know about the outside world, it's very hard to. And I talk to refugees, and they're like, survivor's guilt is a huge thing in our community. The fact that we got out and other people didn't, it drives us crazy because you can't think about it too much. Like,
no, if you start thinking about multi-generational prisons,
you
go, oh, okay. I mean, I'm out. It's like you. I can understand why the triaging of what we choose to shine a light on in the world, what we choose to discuss. Like the big problems in the world are things that no one gives a fuck about. No one talks about, like biomass. Burning biomass fuel kills 3 million people a year.
Is that right?
3 million a year. One of the biggest problems in the world, here's a lack of glamour for you, smoking. But we solved it here, Western Europe and America, Australia, Canada. So we sort of don't give a fuck now. We sort of like, you go, right. But these are the big problems. And you go, but we don't care about them because they're not our problems anymore, rather than looking at the globe as a whole.
Folks, head over to malice.locals.com where Jimmy took questions from the fans. Folks, head over to jimmycarr.com to get tickets. I promise you will not regret it. I've seen you twice now in 2 years. I can't wait to see you again next year. It's all new too, every time. Yeah. So it's no one does it like you. It's just absolutely superb. And thank you for making my weekend so excellent. We're running out of time.
I really appreciate it, man.
What has been your favorite part of this interview?
I like the opening where you showed fealty to my genius.
You are welcome.
This September, CBS hits are streaming free on Pluto TV.
I'm coming in hot.
For this month only, you can watch full seasons of the CBS shows you love. From the courtroom drama of Matlock to the heroics of Fire Country. Go back to where it all began in NCIS Origins, or watch the hilarious hauntings of ghosts, all for free. Full seasons of the CBS shows you love. This month only on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.